Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Tanya Friedman, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Connetics USA. We help healthcare organizations all over the US with the global nursing shortage by bringing in internationally educated nurses. I have with me today Rochelle. Rochelle is from IPASS. Hi, Rochelle. Welcome.
Hello, Tanya. Good evening, everyone, and to all our audience as well. Good evening.
Thank you for joining us, Rochelle. I also have Jean. Welcome, Jean.
Hello, good morning, Tanya.
Hi, the royal wave. Jean always gives us the royal wave on all our shows. And then we also have Mark who's joining us today. Hi, Mark. Welcome.
I think he's on mute.
Mark, I think you're on mute. I think he's having a little technical hitch. Mark, can you hear us? Well, while Mark is sorting out his technical hitch, I'd like to welcome everybody who's joining from all over the world. Our new show, Onwards and Upwards, is a live show for international nurses who are looking to come to the US. And we cover everything that you need to know about coming to America, living your American dream, and how you're going to get to that point. Today, the topic is how to go about applying for the NCLEX exam. And we have the experts, Rochelle and Jean on, and Mark hopefully will be joining us, who will going to be telling us everything that we need to know about how to apply for the NCLEX. For those of you who are watching in your home country, who always wanted to come to America, watched American movies, dreamed of coming to America, and really just don't know where to start. It just seems so complicated, so overwhelming. We're going to break it down for you today, and we're going to start with the very first step of our success path, the Connetics USA success path. And you can check out this success path on our website and our social media. These are all the steps in order of how you need to what you need to do in order to come and live and work as a nurse in the US. So the first step, as you see, is the NCLEX Fast Pass. You've got to qualify as a nurse, prepare for the exam, apply to take the test, pass the exam. So all of those things are going to be covered in today's show. And then the rest of the success path you can check out on our website and our social media, which will tell you once you've passed the NCLEX what comes next. Okay, so let's get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to put that into the chat. We love to see where you are, and if you have any questions for the experts, Jean and Rochelle, hopefully Mark will be joining us soon. Okay, so let's get started. Rochelle, let's start with you. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. Thank you for this opportunity, by the way, for inviting us on your Onwards and Upward show.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm actually a registered nurse as well. I was able to pass the NCLEX last 2016. I had my license through Texas Board of Nursing, and we were able to endorse it to New York and as well as to Tennessee Board of Nursing. So right now I am busy with Jean on managing our business in IPASS together with our team as well. So thank you very much for inviting us, Tanya.
Okay, so Rochelle is not just an expert, but she has also lived the experience herself and gone through the process as a nurse, getting that first application into the nursing board and passing her exam. So congratulations, Rochelle, on getting to that point. And thank you for sharing your expertise, because this is really the starting block. This is the first step for any nurse who wants to come to America. Jean, I know you don't need any introduction to many of the people watching. Jean is pretty famous in our social media. But for those of you who have not met Jean before, Jean, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. For those who doesn't know me, I'm Jean Jason Olivar Jimenez. I live here in Texas. I've been here for years. I came here in United States in 2006. I passed my NCLEX exam on 2000, I think 2005 or 2004, with the help of the agency. Everything is free, and it was a fast process. So it's like 9 months, and then I flew here in United States. I live in Michigan for 7 years, and then I transferred here in Texas. So now, Rachel and me have this processing agency in the Philippines, and I'm the one who like troubleshoot everything that I need to fix any problems in your NCLEX. If I need to call CGFNS, I call CGFNS almost every day. So all the representatives in CGFNS knows me. So any problems with the NCLEX, we are your
Go-to people.
go-to people. Yes.
And I love, Jean, that you've also been through this process yourself personally, that you know how difficult it is, how stressful it can be, how confusing it can be. So it's great that you have that expertise, but also that you've lived that experience as well, and that you're now living your American dream, which is what we want for everybody who's watching. I see Martinez is saying hi. Hi, Martinez. She's saying hi, beautiful lady, to both of you. Siam is saying hi. Hi, Siam. Welcome. Sorel is joining us. Rommel is watching from the Philippines. Welcome, Rommel. So everybody who's joining, please put into the chat. We love to see where you are in the world. Nurses from all over the world are watching our new show, Onwards and Upwards. And if you have not seen our show before, we cover many topics such as immigration, licensing, like today's topic on the NCLEX, how to apply for the NCLEX, topics about what it's like to live in the different states. We have client showcases, so lots of fun, great information, which is free for all nurses to watch. Lija is watching, hi. Rommel is saying hi, Ma'am Jean and Rochelle. So, okay, so let's get to the questions. Let's start with the basics, Rochelle and Jean. What is the NCLEX? Rochelle, do you want to maybe take that question? What does it stand for, NCLEX?
NCLEX is like, it's like here, if you are here in the Philippines, it's like a Philippine licensure examination. But in the USA, it's their licensure examination. It's like their board examination. So any nurse who want to practice nursing in the USA must be able to pass their NCLEX so that they can have their license in the USA and they will be authorized to practice as a nurse.
Okay, so that's a clear explanation. If you want to come and live and work in the US as a nurse, you have to pass the NCLEX exam. There's just really no way about that. Jean, who is qualified to take the NCLEX?
Those who are qualified, those nurses who not, it's not for those nurses who graduated in the Philippines. So we are all like BSN, right? But for those who did not take the NLE, you can still apply in the states that doesn't need the license in the Philippines, like New York Board of Nursing. You don't need to be a registered nurse in the Philippines. Hawaii Board doesn't need Hawaii also, Florida also. Mm, I think that's the most states that does not need you to pass NLE in the Philippines. So and so any other state you can apply NCLEX as long as you graduated in a nursing program.
Okay.
And those who are like foreign, like graduate of like 2 years degree, even those nurses like the Pakistani, Indian, any other nurses who have, they need to have their credentials evaluated first. Like in the CGFNS, everything has to be evaluated. And also, if they apply in New York Board of Nursing, we have to have their credentials evaluated first in the comparative department. So even if you graduated in just 2 years degree, but if it is comparable to the US standards, then you can take the NCLEX.
Okay, so it sounds like the first step is the evaluation of your current education in your home country, correct?
Yes.
And I see, you mentioned the Philippines, but we have nurses that are watching all over the world. And you mentioned some of the other countries. So I see we've got Candace from South Africa. Hi, Candace, from my home country. I came from South Africa 21 years ago. And this is the best experience that I've ever had, and certainly something we want for other South Africans or any other nurse that wants to come to the US. But Jean, you said that all nurses will have to be evaluated, and when we go through the process a few minutes in a few minutes time on the show, we're going to talk about the process in more detail. But does a nurse need to have experience as an RN? Do you have to have your bachelor's? I understand everyone's got to be evaluated, and that will be on a case-by-case basis. But like as a general rule, do nurses need to have that?
Rachel?
Well, actually, it's not a requirement that a nurse should have an experience, because what they are just going to check on for the nurse credentials will be if it's comparative to the US standards. So it's not a requirement at all that the nurse should be able to have their experience. So even if they just graduated nursing, even they don't have any clinical experience or in whatever department it is, then they are eligible to apply for the NCLEX.
Okay, so in other words, according to the experts, everybody, even if you don't have experience, even if you don't have your bachelor's, your case would need to be evaluated to see if you would be eligible based on your background and education, but probably you can apply. And is that a correct statement?
There is also a state that needs experience. It's like Texas. The requirement for Texas is that you have to have an experience as a nurse within the past 4 years, or if you don't have experience, you graduated as a nurse within the past 4 years. So Texas is kind of like there are qualifications to take the NCLEX in Texas board.
Okay. So Jean, are you saying then that some states might require experience, some don't? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where it's really helpful to have experts like IPASS that can help you to evaluate that and look at your specific background and see if that could be a fit. Hi, Mark. Can you hear us now? Mark?
Hello, Mark.
Oh, my goodness. I think Mark's having I think it's his Wi-Fi. Mark, can you hear us?
I think
Hopefully Mark will be able to join in. Mark is a nurse who has gone through this process, so we would love, if possible, to hear Mark's story and hear his experience, and hopefully he will be able to sort out his technical hitches soon. Mark, can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us. I think he's got some Wi-Fi issue. Okay,
Tanya,
so
hi everyone.
Godfrey
I'm
saying
really,
hi.
I'm really sorry about my internet connection.
Oh, there you go.
Hello.
Okay, Mark, do you want to
Ma'am.
introduce
Hi.
yourself? Hi there, Mark. Welcome. Do you want to introduce yourself to everybody who's watching? Tell us a
Yes,
little
Tanya, I
bit
can hear
about
you.
yourself.
Guys, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you, Mark. I think there's maybe a little bit of a delay. Can you hear us?
Oh.
Oh, this is a live show. That's what happens on a live show. Sometimes we have technical hitches. Okay, so we've got Godfrey saying hi. Sai is tagging friends. Dims is tagging a friend. Please, this is our way of paying it forward. The reason why Kinetics USA created our show, Onward and Upward, is really just to help nurses, especially at the time of the pandemic. It's such a stressful time for so many nurses. So we wanted to create a platform where you can get free information every Friday. And this is our way of paying it forward for you. And Rochelle and Jean, this is their way of paying it forward for everybody who's watching by sharing this free information for you about how to go about the NCLEX application. So please pay it forward for your friends and tag them as Sai and Dims are doing. Marie saying hi. Rosa is saying hi. Haruna's in the UK. Whoa, people watching from all over the world. How fun. Okay, so let's talk about, let's just to finish off about the NCLEX. I have a question that was sent to me privately that is from Anne. Anne is asking, I heard that you can take the NCLEX now in the US, Canada, and Australia. Is it the same NCLEX?
Yes, I will take that question. It's the same NCLEX that you are going to take. So if ever, the good thing that if ever that you will be able to pass this certain examination, say for example, if you are going to choose the NCLEX USA, then you don't need to sit anymore for the NCLEX Canada as well as NCLEX Australia. So you can be exempted for their NCLEX. So say if you want to go to Australia first, or if you are planning to go to Canada, there's still a certain process, there's still certain credential evaluation that they are going to take. But part of the process is that the nurse should have the NCLEX. So during that time, then the nurse can be able to submit their NCLEX result. And so you don't need to sit for the NCLEX Canada anymore because you already passed the NCLEX. So it's basically the same.
Okay, so it's the same. So even, for example, Rochelle, if I'm a nurse that's currently sitting in Canada or Australia, and I've just maybe, written my local boards, and I want to and then I want to take the NCLEX exam. If I take the NCLEX for Canada or for Australia, it's the same thing then as taking the US NCLEX. So if I, for example, take the NCLEX in Canada and I decide I want to work in California, I can do that. Is that correct?
Yes, there's just a process that's called license endorsement after, because of course you don't have the license yet. So if you are licensed in Canada, then if you plan of going to the USA, then there should be a license endorsement that should take place.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. Mark, can you hear us now? Mark, can you hear us? Oh, goodness. Poor Mark. I think we're not going to be able to hear him today. Mark, if you can hear us, feel free to jump in.
I think there's a delay.
Yeah, there's a delay. Okay. All right. Jean, before we start talking about the logistics of how somebody would actually go about applying for the NCLEX, can you explain the difference for nurses? What is the difference between the NCLEX exam and the CGF&S exam? And this is not to be confused with the CGF&S organization. What is the difference between those two?
The CGF&S qualifying exam. So we have the credentialing agency here in the USA. It's the CGF&S. So that is the credentialing agency. There are other agencies like the ARES, IERF, Joseph and Silly. So those are credentialing agencies. But if you want to take the CGF&S qualifying exam, that is a different service of the CGF&S. Like there are states that require CGF&S qualifying exam, like the Michigan. So before you can take the NCLEX through Michigan Board of Nursing, you need to pass the CGF&S qualifying exam. You need to pass the English test like the IELTS. So you pair the CGF&S qualifying exam with the English language test, and then you get the CGF&S certificate. So if you plan to take the NCLEX through Michigan Board of Nursing, you have to go through that process and submit also that CGF&S certificate. And also Wisconsin needs CGF&S qualifying exam for NCLEX. Yes. Yeah. So it's a different, so the CGF&S qualifying exam is the exam that you will take for those states that needs that CGF&S exam per se.
Okay. All right. So, and I remember when I started doing this, how many years ago, like almost 15 years ago, nurses couldn't take the NCLEX. They couldn't write the NCLEX outside of the US. They had to fly to America to do it. And that's when many nurses were actually also taking the CGF&S exam. So, things have also changed, but as Jean says, there are some states that will still require that for endorsement.
Yeah. Like long time ago during my time, like in 2005, 2006, before you take the NCLEX, you have to take the CGF&S qualifying exam. But now you don't need to take the CGFNS qualifying exam just to take the NCLEX.
Okay, great. So thank you for clarifying that, because that's a question that we often get, is what is the difference, and why is it set up like that with the two different exams? Okay, so Anne-Marie is watching, new member here, so happy to have found this group. Well, we're happy that you found us. Thank you for everyone watching this very helpful live show, watching from Oslo, Norway. All over the world. I love it. How fun. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the logistics. Like, how does it actually practically work? One of the questions that I have that was sent to me by Syed is, how many times can I write the NCLEX exam? I know with the CGFNS it is limited to certain times. Rochelle?
So there are boards of nursing wherein you can sit for the NCLEX unlimited takes, but there are also boards of nursing wherein there is a limitation. Say, for example, through Texas Board of Nursing, you can have unlimited takes within 4 years span of time, which means to say that you can have as much as many takes if you are not successful in your first examination, but it should be within 4 years span of time. And for Illinois Board of Nursing as well, you should be able to pass your NCLEX within 3 years span of time. But with New York Board of Nursing, you can have unlimited days. So as long as you were not able to pass it yet and you are still willing to sit for the examination, then you can freely go through the process again and then sit for the examination so that you'll be able to pass your NCLEX. So it varies. It depends on which board of nursing.
Okay, so that's where the experts come in, Rochelle and Jean from IPASS, who are experts in this field, because every state is not the same. So there are some specific differences with the different states, and that's something that might be difficult for a nurse that's sitting outside the country to know, and that's why we do a show like Onwards and Upwards. If you have already passed your NCLEX, please apply to Connetics USA/application, and one of our team will be waiting by to help you and find the right match for you. We are direct hire, so we don't sponsor the nurses ourselves. We are not your employer. We are not your sponsor. This is direct hire, where the employer, the hospital, the nursing home will be your sponsor and your employer. And the big advantage of that, and this is something that not all international nurses know, is that you will get paid the same as an American nurse, which, as Rochelle and Jean know, nursing is a hard job. So you want to get valued and appreciated with that same rate, rate of pay. We have a question here from Anne. Anne is asking, does the NCLEX score expire? How long is it valid, Jean?
It does not expire actually. If you pass NCLEX, that is like for life. You don't, if you pass it once, you don't retake it unless there are like, I know one board of nursing, like the Connecticut Board of Nursing, if you pass the NCLEX but you don't renew it for like 5 years and you don't have experience within 5 years time, then you will retake the NCLEX. So there are certain states has different policies. In Illinois Board of Nursing, if you pass the NCLEX, you have to have the license. You have to apply the license within 1 year time. There are cases also that even if the nurse has passed the NCLEX and she was not able to get the license, there was a consideration during the pandemic time that the license was still issued. But it is very important that if you pass NCLEX through Illinois Board of Nursing, you have to apply the license within 1 year, or else you may retake the NCLEX.
Okay. Wow, that I did not know that. So that's really important information for anyone taking through Illinois. Is there like, like with the CGFNS exam, you can only take it 4 times a year. You've got to book for it ahead of time. Can you speak a little bit about the process of how often you can take the test? Like, can you take it at any time, or is there only set times a year with the CGFNS exam?
For CGFNS qualifying exam, CGFNS has certain like cut off cut-off dates that you need to submit the requirements. So like in like I don't know, I didn't look. So it's example only in March. If you submitted the requirements within the cut-off time, then you can take the CGFNS qualifying exam on March, and then the next time will be like July, or the next time will be September, and the next will be like December. So if CGFNS qualifying exam has it's there's time limit, like you have to submit everything, and then they have a certain time frame that you need to take the exam. But for NCLEX, there is no you can take it anytime, like every day or not every day. Like some months there is no open slot on Saturday or Sunday, but all throughout the year, every weekdays all throughout the year, if it is available, then you can take it.
So there's no restrictions like the CGFNS exam.
Yes.
Mark, you're back. Can you hear us now?
Hey guys, I'm really sorry. I apologize.
That's
I
okay,
apologize. I apologize about my internet. I've been having problems since last night. So I actually tested with Melanie earlier. It was fine, but I don't know what happened earlier. So, but I'm here. So
Well,
I'm
we
sorry
are.
for the
That's okay.
delay on my
That's
joining
okay.
this program.
It's a live show, so that oh my goodness, it's a live show. You see, people are calling and things are happening. This is live, and I think that's the fun of Onwards and Upwards, is that it's like just like we're sitting around in in somebody's house and just chatting. So I think that's why it's such a fun show. So Mark, want to introduce yourself to everybody? Mark, can you hear us? I think he's still got a delay. Mark, do you want to introduce yourself and just tell us everybody a little bit about yourself? Oh, goodness. I think Mark has still got a delay. So Jansen is asking, does Connetics accept nurses without nursing experience? So Jansen, the answer is yes. We have employers all over the US, both hospitals, nursing
All right.
homes, skilled nursing, rehab facilities. Some require specific experience, some require a lot of experience, and some will take nurses that don't have experience. So you're welcome to apply, Jensen. Go to the Connetics USA website and apply, and one of our team will help you. And also, if you're watching today, please stay on until the end of the show, because we're going to share with you some information about if you have not yet
Can you
passed.
hear me?
Hi, Mark. There seems to be a delay, so I don't think it's going to work at the moment, because there seems to be just some kind of a delay. Thanks. Okay, it's back to the three of us. All right. So I have a question here from Tom. Tom is asking, so where can I actually write the NCLEX exam? Which countries are available to write the exam? If I don't live near a testing center, what do I do? When I started doing this years ago, you could only write it in the US, as I said, but right now there are testing centers all over the world. So Rochelle, what would somebody do if they are, we've got on the screen, let's put that graphic back up. So we've got on the screen all the different places that you can write the NCLEX exam worldwide now. So Rochelle, if somebody doesn't live in one of these countries, so they live in, for example, in Nigeria or something like that, what would they do about writing the NCLEX exam?
So commonly, this applies to the nurses who are currently staying in the Middle East or are working in the Middle East. They actually asked us if where can they sit for the examination, since there's no testing center in the Middle East. So you basically have to go to the country wherein there is a testing center. So if you are able to go to the USA, then every state has its Pearson view, and you can choose any state that you want to sit for the examination. And if you are not able to go to the USA, then you can go to the Philippines, or you can also go to Taiwan, to Hong Kong as well. There's none in Singapore. And you can also go to India. So these are the countries, as you can see here in your screen, these are the countries where you can go to. So if your country doesn't have the Pearson VUE testing center, then you really have to go where there is a testing center to sit for the NCLEX.
Okay, so thank you for that. And the exciting thing is that the Pearson VUE are adding testing centers. I mean, just recently, Turkey came on board. It wasn't that long ago that Brazil and South Africa, my home country, were added. So it's exciting to see that more and more countries are starting to get that testing center venue, and hopefully that will make it easier for a lot of international nurses. Okay, so Pat is asking, how long should I study before I take the NCLEX exam? And if I'm interested, should I actually apply right now, even if I haven't started studying? Jean?
Yes, you can apply now, and then because the process will take long, like Texas or Illinois board, it takes like 5 to 6 months to have you get approved. And in New York right now, there's a lot of applications that were lodged in New York Board of Nursing, so that's why the approval is kind of late now. It will take like probably 8 to 9 months to have an approval. So when right now, if you have not started yet, it is high time that you can start the application, and then you can study as soon as possible, like tomorrow or next day. You can start studying by your own. Yes, that's it.
Okay. So
In
Jean,
addition to that,
sorry, Rochelle, did you have something to add?
yeah, I'd like to add into that as well. So definitely the right thing that should be done by the nurse is to first apply for the NCLEX, because as what Jean said, it takes time for it to be approved. And then the moment that you are already approved, then you can say to yourself that you are already ready, provided that you have already started reviewing. And for us in IPASS, we have the online NCLEX review program as well. So wherein we also have the sponsored candidates of Connetics for their NCLEX sponsorship program. So you basically have to start with your NCLEX first, and then you can already start studying, or you can enroll to a certain review center for your online review program, so that the moment that you are already approved for the NCLEX, then you can already sit for the NCLEX as well.
Okay, so this is very important, everybody who's watching. If you have not started this process, then it's important to start the application for the NCLEX, because what some people do is they will start studying, and then when they're kind of getting towards the end of their studying program, then they apply for the NCLEX. But as both Jean and Rochelle has said, the waiting time to get the ATT, the authorization to test, is taking longer and longer as many more people come on board and try and write the NCLEX exam. So start that process when you actually start your study program. In December, we're going to be doing a show on how to prepare for the NCLEX exam, so more on the studying part of it. So keep watching and check out the Onwards and Upward show. We do this every Friday, and in December, we will do a show more on actually the specifics of how to prepare and more like the clinical study piece. Today, we're talking more about the application. Jean, I noticed that you speak a little bit more about, like you've spoken about New York, you've spoken about Illinois, you've spoken about Texas, some of the states where international nurses will commonly apply for the to write the NCLEX exam. Why cannot an international nurse not apply to just any board? What's the reason for that?
There are certain requirements in other board of nursing, like in California board. You cannot apply in California unless you have a social security number. In Florida board of nursing, you can take the NCLEX, but your license will not be issued unless you have social security number. Same is true with Hawaii Board of Nursing. You can take the NCLEX, but your license will not be issued. So Virginia, Kentucky. So those states you can take the NCLEX, but then your license will not be issued unless you have a social security number. So I want to throw back the question to you, Tanya. So those nurses who does not have an active license, is it possible for your company to process or initiate the EB3 application without an active license?
Yes, correct. Because the way that we do it on the EB3 green card is there's certain criteria in the prevailing wage, which is the first step of the green card process. And if anybody has not watched our shows on the immigration, please check them out on our YouTube channel, website, social media, and you can see more information about that. But the answer to that is yes, Jean, because we have employers all over the US, even if it's a state where you cannot actually, as an international nurse, write the NCLEX through, for example, because of the social security issue, like, for example, California. In fact, when I started doing this years ago, California was the best state to work with. But, states also sometimes change their policy, and now you need social security to write the NCLEX for California. So what our team does is that we will help nurses with an endorsement. So that is a whole nother process, and we will be doing a show next year on endorsements and how that works, because it can be another layer of confusion for many international nurses. But really, at the end of the day, as long as the nurse can write through a nursing board and pass the NCLEX, we can help them. So that is where, as Gina and Rochelle have said, the most common boards are maybe boards like New York or Illinois or Texas. And if you want to go work in California, for example, we can do that. It's just a matter of navigating the process, but you're not alone, and we can help you with that roadmap. Okay, so we've got a lot of questions that are coming in. So before we move on to some of the biggest myths about the NCLEX application process, Rochelle or Jean, can you share how much it costs to take the NCLEX exam?
So for the expenses on the NCLEX application, usually it ranges from $800 to $1,000. But in IPASS, we are not going to charge it as like one-time, a big-time payment. So it will be done as per step that needs to be accomplished. But this is the approximately, this will be the investment that you are going to spend for this NCLEX application.
And investment is a good word, because it really is investing in yourself and investing in your future. So Rochelle, if you work through IPASS?
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right. So that's for your services and your expertise, and everybody watching, you can hear how much knowledge and expertise both Jean and Rochelle have on this process, and how different states have got different requirements, and IPASS can help you to navigate that. If you decide to do the NCLEX on your own, because that is an option, right? So nurses can decide to do like a DUI, so they can do an NCLEX application on their own. How much would the cost be for to apply to a nursing board and for the Pearson VUE fee?
So the difference if you're going to DIY and if you're going with IPASS is just our service fee is only like $200 or $240 for the whole process. So like if it's like 850, so less 250. That's the expenses that you will have if you're going to DIY.
Okay, so there you have it. You can do this on your own. I can tell you that it's very confusing, but it is possible. There are nurses who do it on your own, or you can go through a very highly reputable company like IPASS, who've helped. How many nurses have you helped through the NCLEX application process?
We have a lot. Like beyond 10,000 already.
Okay, so lots of experience helping nurses, and the option is yours if you want to go through a company like IPASS, or if you wanted to do it yourself. Okay, so Naveen is saying hi, Jezreel is saying hi, Tiffany, Sandra, hi everybody. Oh, I love this, watching from all over. Lily from Singapore. Naveen is saying, I passed the NCLEX and the IELTS. Congrats, Naveen. That's a huge plus. And Naveen is asking about the hiring of Indian nurses. Naveen, please watch the show that we did last week on the adjustment of status process, the adjustments of status green card, and we spoke about Indian nurses and the challenges with placing Indian nurses right now because of the visa bulletin, but there are some exceptions to that. Okay, Rosa is asking, what do I have to do if I graduate to BSN after CGFNS verified my documents through diploma and already passed the NCLEX? Oh, so Rosa has already passed the NCLEX. In that case, you can apply to Connetics USA, to our website /application, and one of our Kinetics recruiters will be in contact with you and will speak to you about the many opportunities that we have all over the country. So we call our recruiters career matchmakers. That's our name for them. And the reason is because you will tell them what you're looking for. So if you want to work in a specific state, or you have family in Texas, you want to work and in a state where you have a white Christmas, you want to go to New York, or you want to be in a big city, or you want a small town, or you want to be in a nursing home, or you want to be in an ICU, magnet system, whatever your requirements are, Rosa, or anybody else who's watching, our career matchmakers will ask you a lot of questions, and then we will find you the best fit and the best match. Okay, so let's talk about the myths. I know there are a lot of myths about the NCLEX application process. So we're going to put up a graphic about some of those common myths. I see there are 5. So Rochelle, maybe if you can take us through those first 3 myths, and Jean, the last 2.
Okay, let's first start off with the difficulty of NCLEX varies depending on the state board of nursing. So regardless whichever board of nursing that you have applied or that we have lodged your application, your NCLEX will be the same. So it's not true that New York Board of Nursing's NCLEX will be different with Texas Board of Nursing. No, it's the same pool of questions that you are going to answer, but it depends, of course, definitely, because your NCLEX, you should know that your NCLEX is a computer adaptive testing test, that the difficulty of your NCLEX varies depending on your performance of the previous question. So it's not about the board of nursing, but it's about your performance on the actual examination that will vary as per its difficulty. So it's not true. It's the same for all boards of nursing. So the second one is the applicant needs IELTS first before one can sit for the NCLEX. So as what we have already discussed, so you don't need to have your IELTS before sitting for the NCLEX. We can apply through a certain board of nursing, but although it varies depending to which board of nursing that we are going to submit your application, because there are boards wherein there is, as what Jean mentioned earlier, that there are boards of nursing wherein you need to have your CGFNS qualifying exam, wherein if you need to have CGFNS qualifying exam, then IELTS will be part of it. But there are also boards of nursing wherein you don't need to submit, or you don't need to pass your CGFNS qualifying exam first. So we just have to submit your application to the board, have your credentials evaluated, and then you will be approved for the NCLEX. So it's not necessary to have your IELTS. The third one is when an examinee stops at 75 items, it means that the applicant will pass. So this is about the examination per se already. So it depends whether what number you stop on your NCLEX, it's still a pass or a failed result, depending really on your performance. So whatever number or whatever, so take as much time when you are going to sit for your NCLEX, because every number counts on your examination. It's not a guarantee that you will pass on your NCLEX once you stop at 75. But the best thing that you can do is think, of course, think with using your critical thinking skills, because every number counts on your NCLEX.
Okay, so thank you for clarifying those myths, Rochelle. And it doesn't matter for anybody who's watching, if you get 75 questions or 365 questions, you could still pass. But as Rochelle said, every question counts. Just to clarify for everybody, just to talk about the IELTS, if you are placed at, as Rochelle said, you don't need the IELTS in before the NCLEX. I mean, if you have that, that's great, but you don't have to do that. But if you are, have got your NCLEX, you are get a job offer from a Connetics direct hire employer. Connetics have a free IELTS course that we provide for every single of our Connetics nurses who need to take the IELTS exam. Please check out on our social media, on our YouTube page, some of our IELTS Hero interviews. I always reference Bert. Bert is an international nurse. He took the IELTS 7 times. He failed 7 times. Then he came to Connetics. He did our course. He passed. And he got an 8 in speaking, which is much higher than the criteria required. So we've got a phenomenal course. So if you're worried about the IELTS, please don't worry, because we got you. Okay, so let's go back to that graphic of the myths. Jean, take us through those last two.
I want to add on that the applicant needs IELTS first before one can sit for the NCLEX. There are states, though that needs IELTS first. Like Minnesota Board of Nursing needs IELTS to take the NCLEX. Washington State needs IELTS to take the NCLEX. So it depends on, it varies from one board of nursing to the other. There are boards that does not require English test, but there are also board that needs the English test before you take the NCLEX. Then the next myth here, the applicant needs an employer before one can get started on the NCLEX. Oh, that is not true. Like if you don't have an employer, even if you don't have any experience at all, you can take the NCLEX as soon as you're ready to take the NCLEX. The NCLEX is just the same with the Philippine nurse licensure examination. For me, I think the NCLEX is much difficult than the NLE examination, because in NCLEX you have to use your critical thinking skills, and also there is that right now drag and drop, the SATA, the select all that apply. So it's kind of, it's the NCLEX is, I think it's much difficult than the NLE.
And you can have been an excellent nurse for many, many years, have great experience, and think, oh, I don't need to study for the NCLEX because I've got so much nursing knowledge. No, you pretty much you have to study for the NCLEX. Am I right, Gina?
Yes, I would agree to that. Really, you really have to prepare well for this NCLEX, because this is a really challenging examination. I tell you, I myself, I wasn't able to pass my NCLEX my first try because I wasn't prepared that much.
Mhm.
So I have that kind of experience wherein out from my experience, I was able to learn from that that a nurse should really prepare this. You should not underestimate your NCLEX because it's quite challenging. Really, you have to prepare well, but it's not impossible for you to pass your NCLEX, definitely, because there are others already who were able to pass their NCLEX. So definitely you can also pass your NCLEX.
Absolutely, but preparation definitely is key. And I think what you just said, Rochelle, is very inspiring for lots of nurses, because you didn't prepare the first time. You did it. Now you've passed, which is great. So it shows that it certainly is possible. But if you think of the money that was wasted,
Yeah.
that's what we don't want for everybody who's watching. That's why we do this show, Onward and Upward, free information for nurses, because we want to give you the tools and the knowledge and the information so that you don't waste your time, you don't waste your money. Okay, Anne-Marie has a question. What state can you recommend now? How long will it take for us now to process the NCLEX exam? Jean?
Our topmost states that we highly recommend are Texas, Illinois, New York. Saipan now has the processing time of Saipan now is kind of faster compared to the time when they had a typhoon. So before it was like 8 months to 9 months, but now it seems like even the reapplication, it takes like 1 month or 2 months to have your approval in Saipan Board of Nursing. Yeah,
Okay.
but the most it is important also you take into consideration the states that has a credential evaluation service, because it is easier for you that when when you get the visa screen that that your credentials has already been evaluated. So the Texas board, Illinois board has credential evaluation during the step 1. So if you have the visa screen and you pass the IELTS already, then it is faster to have you to have your visa screen certificate. Like in 1 month, you can get it right away, as long as you already pass your IELTS or English test.
Okay. Okay. So wow, lots of nuances. And Jean, if somebody is starting this journey now and doesn't know what the visa screen is, can you tell them what that is all about? And we'll
The
be having a show on that next year, by the way. But Jean, if you want to give everybody the quick answer.
the visa screen certificate is a document that you need for during embassy interview. Like if you go through employment based visa like EB3 employment base, you need to have the visa screen certificate, because it's one of the requirements that the consul is going to ask from you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that information. And Ten is asking, hi ma'am, may I ask if it's true that the ATT from the state of New York will now take 6 months validity instead of 3 months? And if you can, and I'm just asking also if you can just share with everybody what ATT means, if nobody knows what that means.
Rachel?
Michelle?
Okay, ADT means authorization to test. So this will be received after that. It will not be received after you were already approved. It will be received once we are already going to pay for the Pearson view. So do not expect that you will receive your authorization to test unless we have already proceeded on that step of paying the Pearson view. So the authorization to test, before the pandemic, it's just 3 months. Some board of nursing, like Texas Board of Nursing, it's valid for 75 days. But during the pandemic, they have extended the authorization to test. They made it into valid for 6 months. So it's quite longer this time. But we do not know after everything will already be settled and we will not have the pandemic anymore, if it's going to be back to 3 months of validity already. So within the span of the validity period of your authorization to test, you should be able to choose a certain date for you to sit for the NCLEX. So one examination, one ATD is only valid for one examination.
Okay. All right, so lots to learn. Luke is asking, can I ask if a foreign trained nurse working as a CNA in the US will need IELTS before taking the NCLEX? Jean?
The CNA is a nursing assistant, right? The
Correct.
RN is a different position. So if you are a CNA, you graduated like BSN in the Philippines, because some of the nurses who come here in the USA and they don't have license on that state yet, they work as a CNA. So you have to process your papers to get an approval for you to take the NCLEX. That has
Okay.
answered the question.
Yeah. No, I think that answers the question. And for anybody who's watching, Connetics USA also have a nurse aid program. So this is another way for people to come to the US and get a green card. It's a slightly different route. It sounds like Luke is already here, but if you are outside the country and looking to come on a nurse aid program, that is another initiative that Connetics have at the moment. Luke is asking, does Connetics recruitment agency recruit in the state of Ohio? Yes, we have many, many employers in Ohio. So happy to help you, Luke. And Alvin is asking, how long for the NCLEX result will be released?
Okay, so for the result on your NCLEX, you, for example, if you are here in the Philippines, so you will be able to have your result like 68 hours after the examination. What you can see in Pearson View, what you can receive is that after, I think that's after 24 hours, if I if I got it right. Jean, is it
Sometimes it's
24
like,
hours
yeah,
or
sometimes it's
48
like
hours?
24 or 48. So, but definitely it's 48 to 62 hours. You can get the quick results. When you log into your Pearson View account and you see it that you can purchase it, then yeah, you can purchase the quick results.
So if you are here in the Philippines, the timing will be after 68 hours. So basically, it's almost 3 days that after you have already taken your NCLEX that you can be able to see what is the unofficial result. Unofficial result, you can see that one once you are going to purchase the Pearson View result. But that's really your result already. So we hope that it's a pass.
Yes,
Pass.
that will be the good news that we want for everybody to be able to do their happy dance. Because once you've got the NCLEX, you pretty much can get started. You can interview with an employer, and if you look at the Connetics USA success path that we put up at the beginning of the show, all of those steps can then fall into place. The first step is the NCLEX. So if you have not yet started, please get started, and wait until the end of the show, because we're also going to be sharing some information about the Connetics NCLEX scholarship program. Jean is saying, I'm waiting for my eligibility from the New York board and soon to be a USRN. Rochelle, can you explain what eligibility is?
I think it differs to certain state boards of nursing. So I'll give the privilege to Jean to answer that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, when she says she's waiting for her eligibility, she's saying it means that she is waiting for her approval. So, like in New York Board of Nursing, the process is like you submit the license to New York Board, and then you submit your education to New York Board of Nursing. Then, from the time that they receive that one, the nurse unit will forward your documents to comparative department. So in comparative department, there's a lot of professions that they are reviewing. So it will take like 6 to 8 months for the comparative department to review your education. Once it is reviewed, you will get an email from New York board saying, congratulations, your education has been approved. You can now pay Pearson View, blah, 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 something like that. So that's the email that they are seeing that they are waiting for their eligibility. It means that they are waiting for their approval to take for the NCLEX.
Okay, so we can put up the graphic which shows the process that nurses, Jean's just gone through that process, but Rochelle, just walk us through, just give us a quick summary of those 3 steps.
So basically, guys, you need to have your documents evaluated. So in this evaluation, they are going to check whether it's comparable to the education there in the USA. And then after that, then it goes to the application process. So the application process and the time frame of that, and as well as the expenses varies depending on which board of nursing we're going to submit your application, and as well as the validity of your application, because there are boards of nursing wherein the validity of the application is just 1 year, and there are boards wherein it's valid for life. So once that you are already approved for these steps, then we can already go to the step 3, which is the examination, wherein you are going to choose when you will sit or when you will want to sit for the NCLEX in any Pearson View testing center. So it's actually your decision. If you are already approved for the certain for the application, then it's your decision as to when you want to sit for the NCLEX.
Okay, and just to go back to our explanation about the ATT, it will only be once you've got that number, correct? That you can then schedule your exam.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. I can't believe it. We are at an hour. This has been such an interesting discussion. It has been such fun to pick both your brains. I'm so sorry that Mark had a technical issue and wasn't able to join us. I wanted to just see there are some additional questions that we weren't able to get to. So Jean and Rochelle have agreed to go into the chat after the show and answer any specific questions that we weren't able to get to. So thank you so much for sharing that expertise. I did want to highlight one question, though. There's a question from Maxwell who's asking, do you sponsor NCLEX for Nigeria? So I know Rochelle and Jean spoke quite a bit about the Philippines, but obviously Onwards and Upwards is directed at all nurses, all global nurses all over the world. So Nigeria is obviously part of that. And we are now going to share some information about the NCLEX scholarship. So if you have passed the NCLEX, please apply to Connetics. However, if you have not yet passed the NCLEX, it is not a problem because you might be eligible for the Connetics USA NCLEX scholarship. We have a scholarship right now where this is a new initiative that we created for nurses because of the pandemic. We know that the pandemic has been so hard on so many nurses. Nurses are physically exhausted, emotionally exhausted, and many nurses now, especially all over the world, are looking at America and know that the visa bulletin is current. There are 280,000 visas right now available. This is unprecedented. There is enormous demand for nurses in the US. So it really is a great opportunity, like Rochelle and Jean, to pass the NCLEX and to change your life if that's what you want to do. So to go back to the NCLEX scholarship, you can apply to the Connetics USA website /NCLEX-scholarship. And you will be able to see if your criteria meet the scholarship requirement. Now, not everybody is going to be selected for the scholarship. This is only for specific nurses with specific criteria that we are looking for. We're actually hoping to expand this, but right now it is only for selected nurses. So if you are not selected for the scholarship, then please continue with your NCLEX journey and let us know once you've passed the NCLEX, because we'd be happy to help you. I think that, so this is a wonderful opportunity. Jean and Rochelle, just final words before we finish off. What do you wish someone had told before you started doing the NCLEX, and now you've gone through that process, you're now on the other side. What do you wish someone had told you about the NCLEX application process before you started?
Rachel.
Rochelle. You're on mute, Rochelle. You're on mute.
The processing wise, it's taking a lot of time, and it's also costly if you are going to have mistakes on the processing side. And I would really recommend that you trust the expertise of those who have already done the processing, because it will save you time, it will save you money, it will save you your efforts. So if you are just going to focus on your review, then you will have a better chance of passing your NCLEX. So allow us, IPASS Processing, to do the legwork for you. If ever that you are a Filipino nurse or an international nurse who is not a Filipino, so we can still provide you that service. So basically, once you are going to do it on your own, you might have costly mistakes on this, but if you trust the experts, then you are assured that the processing of your papers will be in good hands, because we have already done this to many nurses.
Thousands of nurses. IPASS have helped thousands of nurses successfully got them through the NCLEX application process. So again, just to clarify, IPASS are a highly reputable company. They have helped many nurses through this process, and you have a choice. If you want to go to use a company like IPASS, or you can do the NCLEX application process on your own. So that is a choice for any nurses that are wanting to come to the US. Jean, final words. What do you wish you'd known before you started the NCLEX application process?
What I wish I'd known.
You wish you'd known IPASS.
Well, I own iPads. So for those nurses who haven't done, uh, I just want to share with you, there are a lot of nurses who have said, "Oh, Miss Jean, I wish I should have known iPads before. I wish I should not have do it myself because this is a very it's very stressful for them. So I would recommend you to get our service. I am here in the USA to troubleshoot, to solve your problems. Even those nurses who have problems in activating or retrieving their CGFNS account, they go to IPASS to have those retrieved. So I call CGFNS. We do a three-way conference call, and so it's fixed. So we are here to help you anywhere you are, even if you are in the North Pole. We can help you. Even if you are not a Filipino, we help
Of
nurses
course.
all over all the races. All the races in the world. Like we have Nigerians, we have Pakistani, we have Sudan, we have
Nurses from
Koreans, yeah, all over the world. We have helped nurses all over the world. For the past 6 years now, we have helped thousands of nurses. And if just in case there is a mistake on your application, it will be on us. If it is our fault, it will be on us. So why not get our service?
Well, there you go. So again, just to clarify, IPASS services are open for you if you are starting the journey of wanting to come to the US. And the first step, as we said at the beginning of the show, is the NCLEX. But you also have the choice of doing that on your own. So thank you again to Rochelle and to Jean for joining us. I'm so sad that Mark wasn't able to be here. Mark is a nurse who has passed the NCLEX and has gone through this NCLEX application process. Maybe we'll be able to have him come back on a future show. He had some technical hitches. And thank you, Rochelle and Jean, for also offering to answer any questions we were not able to get to in the chat. Just finishing off with some of the Connetics initiatives. If anybody doesn't know, we have a free IELTS scholarship. This is a review course for all Connetics USA nurses. And if you are not trained in English, you have to pass the IELTS in order to work in the US. And we also have our NCLEX scholarship. The NCLEX Scholarship is a free review course for selected global nurses. I want to highlight the selected. Not everybody, unfortunately, is going to qualify for the NCLEX Scholarship. If you do not qualify for the NCLEX Scholarship, please don't be too disappointed. It is only for selected nurses at this time. We are hoping to broaden this. This is a new initiative, so we're hoping to offer this for everybody, but right now it is only for selected nurses. But that does not mean that if you pass your NCLEX on your own that you cannot come to Connetics USA. We would love to help you. We have positions all over the US and we would love to help you. We also have $1,000 referral fee. So if you know any nurse with NCLEX that has not found a sponsor, this is a promotion. Yeah, our team just added that in. The promotion was going to end at the end of October, but we had so many nurses begging us to extend it. One of our nurses, Jekyll, has sent over 100 nurses. He's going to be earning over $100,000. So this promotion is extended now until November 30th. If you know of a nurse that has not yet found a petitioner or sponsor, please go to the Connetics USA website /referrals and enter your friend's name and you will be eligible for the referral fee. You're welcome to to watch our podcast. We're in the top 5% of podcasts in the world. We also have a direct aid nurse aid program. I think it was Maxwell was asking about the nurse aid program. So please keep watching because we have a show on the nurse aid program coming up where we will explain everything that you need to know about this program. We also have obviously every Friday our Onwards and Upwards live show with information, everything that a nurse needs to know coming to America. So immigration, licensing, information about the states, information about the Connetics employers, lots of information coming your way every Friday. And if you are not a nurse and want to come to America, we also have an allied division where we can help you if you're a medical lab technologist, medical lab technician, respiratory therapist, etc., etc. So all good things. Thank you again to Jean and to Rochelle. And as we always say at the end of our show, onward and upward, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.